Chapter 1. A Flicker in the Dark. The stars over the Zalari frontier system of Varnaxis were quiet, too quiet. Commander Threx sat in the command cradle of the Vigilant Sun, an Imperial reconnaissance cruiser, frowning at the data stream cascading down his holoscreens. His vertical pupils narrowed. The gravitic anomaly readings were spiking again. 4-3 cycles in a row, something massive had pulsed through the system, a gravitational ripple too localized and too deliberate to be natural. Any sensor confirmation? He asked. His sensor tech, a lean Zerethian with quills twitching, hissed. No visuals, Commander. No heat signature, no energy trails. It's like gravity itself hiccuped. Threx clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. That's the third time this week. Prepare a probe and launch it toward the anomaly coordinates. The technician hesitated. Sir, those coordinates place the anomaly less than 10,000 clicks from our current position. Threx leaned forward. Then fire faster. The probe shot out silently, its cloaking veil activated the moment it cleared the hull. The bridge fell into anticipatory silence. Nothing happened. Then the probe vanished. Not exploded. Not intercepted. Just gone. One moment, there was telemetry. The next, only static. Threx's blood chilled. Raise the Empire. Report an invisible structure of unknown size and capabilities. Mark it as code black. Before the comms tech could even respond, every screen aboard the Vigilant Sun flickered. Static burst. Then a voice, cool, calm, and unmistakably human. This is Captain Alara Voss of the Earthship Leviathan. We've been expecting you. The ESS Leviathan had been hidden for almost 2 years. It was Earth's ace in the hole, designed after the siege of Europa, where a dozen human colonies were wiped out by rogue alien raiders while the galactic powers turned a blind eye. Built in secret beneath the sulfur oceans of Titan, the Leviathan was the culmination of every lesson humanity had learned from a century of space warfare. Stealth, strength, and strategy. Now it hung in the void, still mostly hidden, its hull a matte black monolith spanning 5 kilometers, cloaked in quantum displacement fields that bent light and radar alike. Even the starlight around it seemed hesitant. Captain Alara Voss stood on her bridge, arms crossed behind her back. Tall, severe, and scarred, she was every inch a commander forged in fire. Her eyes were fixed on the holographic representation of the Zalari cruiser she'd just spooked. They took the bait, said Chief Engineer Malik Okoye, grinning from behind his console. Poor lizard bastards didn't even see us until we whispered in their ears. Not bad for a ship that technically doesn't exist, Alara replied. Is the projection holding? Cloak is still active. Energy signature is within noise. We're a ghost. Good. She turned to her comms officer. Send them the real coordinates. Let's make this official. Commander Threx could hardly believe what he was seeing. Where there had been nothing, there now hovered an impossible behemoth. The Leviathan was massive, not just in scale, but in presence. It projected an aura of menace that was somehow both restrained and overwhelming. It wasn't flexing its muscles. It was simply there. Unbothered. Waiting. He swallowed. Open a channel. The human captain appeared on screen. She didn't look like much, pale-skinned, no visible weaponry, uniform without ornamentation. But her eyes. Commander Threx of the Zalari Empire, he said stiffly. Your vessel has entered restricted space. State your purpose. Captain Voss offered a small, polite smile. Observation. And deterrence. Threx's tail twitched. Deterrence from what, exactly? From assuming humanity is still what you thought it was. Later, deep in the Leviathan Strategic Operations Center, Voss met with her senior officers. The 3D holographic display above the table showed not just the Vigilant Sun, but a flurry of new pings, Zalari reinforcements en route. They'll escalate, said Lieutenant Amina Reyes, the youngest officer on the bridge, barely 27 but sharp as a blade. They'll think we're bluffing. They always do, Okoye added. Until we break their toys. Let's not jump to that just yet, Voss said. They haven't fired. That matters. They didn't fire at Europa either, Reyes muttered under her breath. Voss heard it, but said nothing. The scars of that loss ran deep among the crew. Some, like Reyes, had lost family. Others had lost faith. The Leviathan wasn't just a deterrent, it was a message. Never again. Back aboard the Vigilant Sun, Threx paced. Everything about this felt wrong. Earth was supposed to be minor, a nuisance. And yet the ship before him was far beyond anything the Empire had encountered in the outer reaches. He consulted the Empire's central database. The ship matched no known design. Its signature was unreadable. It had appeared from nowhere, countered every scan, and then spoke to him on an encrypted Imperial channel. No race should be able to do that. Unless they'd been preparing. Watching. Threx straightened. Send word to the High Command. Tell them. Earth has evolved. Later that cycle, deep in the Leviathan's observation deck, Voss stood alone. Through the transparent dome above, the Zalari reinforcements shimmered into view, 9 ships, sleek and bristling with weapons. She didn't flinch. Instead, she tapped her wrist console. The cloak dropped fully. The full majesty of the Leviathan revealed itself, a black-armored, gravity-warping fortress with enough firepower to match a battle group. It didn't move. It didn't need to. Every ship in the sector suddenly understood. This was Earth's answer to the galaxy's arrogance. Final paragraph. Emotional/thematic note. Captain Voss breathed out slowly. The galaxy had written off humanity as a scattered, backwater species barely worth noticing. Now they would learn the truth. Earth was done asking for a seat at the table. It had built its own. And parked a supercarrier on top of it. Word count. 1205. Would you like me to proceed with Chapter 2 next? Chapter 2. T. Tactics and Tension. The shuttle docked with a smooth metallic click, air seals hissing as the atmosphere equalized. For Zalari diplomats stood in eerie silence, processing the fact that they were about to step aboard a human warship that, until 48 hours ago, was presumed impossible. The leader of the delegation, Chancellor Yilzen, adjusted his robes and clicked a command to his entourage. Behind him, Commander Threx walked with caution. His military instincts screamed that this was a trap. But even he couldn't deny the obvious. The humans had given them coordinates, a landing bay, and, somehow, their own clearance codes. The ramp descended. The delegation was met by 2 human officers. One wore formal military dress, tall and statuesque with silver-streaked hair. The other stood at ease, hands in pockets, chewing on what appeared to be gum. "Welcome aboard the Leviathan," the elder said. "I'm Ambassador Lennox Davis, diplomatic envoy for Earth United Systems. And this," he motioned, "is Chief Engineer Malik Okoye." He insisted on coming along. Okoye grinned. "Wanted to see the looks on your faces." The Zalari delegation blinked. All 4, in unison. Captain Voss watched the greeting unfold on the bridge's internal display with quiet satisfaction. The arrival of the Zalari delegation had gone precisely according to plan. Her team had been rehearsing the subtle psychological game for days, since Earth first intercepted Zalari command chatter about primitive humans getting bold. Now the aliens were aboard her ship, following her rules. "Bring them to the diplomatic gallery," she said, "and engage the perception dampeners." Lieutenant Reyes, standing at her console, raised a brow. "Going with the full theatrical treatment?" "Subtle reminders," Voss replied. 1,000 quiet messages, all saying the same thing, were not to be underestimated. The diplomatic gallery of the Leviathan was unlike anything the Zalari had seen before. High-vaulted, minimalist in design, with adaptive walls that subtly shifted based on emotional resonance. Abstract art floated weightlessly in alcoves, illuminated by indirect lighting that mimicked planetary sunrise. A holographic koi pond shimmered in one corner. And in the center, a simple round table set for tea. Chancellor Yilzen's sensory nodules flared involuntarily. "What is the purpose of this chamber?" "To make you question everything," Davis said pleasantly, pouring a cup. "Earl Grey. Bit of a cliché, but tradition matters." Okoye added, "Don't worry. It's non-toxic to you." "Probably." As the session began, Voss observed from the adjacent command room, 1 floor up. The walls were transparent from her side, opaque from theirs. She could see every twitch, every hesitation. A psychologist's dream. "Let's see how long it takes them to ask about weapons," she murmured. Reyes smirked. 4 minutes, Captain. You're on." Yilzen sipped carefully. The liquid was bitter, strange, but soothing. Your vessel is formidable. Davis smiled. Thank you. It's a prototype. Earth's first supercarrier-class stealth ship. Took us a decade and a half. Threx leaned forward. How many of these do you possess? Okoye made a show of looking around. Today? Just the one. Tomorrow? Who knows? The Zalari diplomats exchanged glances. You're deliberately vague, Yilzen said. Deliberately strategic, Davis corrected. You see, the Leviathan isn't just a ship. It's a statement. And what does it say? Threx asked. Davis's smile faded. It says Earth's done being ignored. Down in the ship's tactical simulation room, the delegation was led to what looked like a theater. They were told it was for a cultural demonstration. The lights dimmed. A battlefield unfolded in 3D. Simulation begins, a calm voice said. In the scenario, a lone human supercarrier, clearly the Leviathan, was surrounded by an Empire battle group. The aliens opened fire. The Leviathan didn't return fire immediately. Instead, it deployed drones, thousands, swarming like metallic locusts. Within minutes, the enemy ships were disabled. Not destroyed, just neutralized. Engines dead, weapons offline. Yilzen stood. This is fiction. Okoye crossed his arms. It's what would happen. Based on our AI's projections. Threx whispered. You used non-lethal force. That's right, Okoye replied. Because humans don't just plan to win. We plan to leave survivors to remember it. After the simulation, Chancellor Yilzen requested a private meeting with Captain Voss. Davis agreed, under supervision. Inside her ready room, Voss greeted the Chancellor with a nod and no pretense. You have questions, she said. I have concerns, Yilzen replied. Why reveal this vessel now? Because your empire keeps pushing outward, Voss answered. Colonies disappear. Trade routes get restructured. And every species that complains winds up under Zalari protection. Earth noticed. Earth remembered Europa. Yilzen exhaled through his spiracles. That was not sanctioned. Didn't matter to the dead, Voss said coldly. The Leviathan was our response. Their conversation grew tense. Yilzen, you are provoking an arms race. Voss, we are ending a cycle of submission. Yilzen, you risk interstellar war. Voss, only if you fire first. They stared at each other. Not in hate, but in dawning respect. For the first time in his long life, the Zalari Chancellor realized he was not speaking to prey. He was speaking to predators who had simply been quiet for too long. Meanwhile, back in the mess hall, Lieutenant Reyes sat across from a Zalari translator named Cautel, who'd stayed behind to interface with the ship systems. He watched her shovel scrambled eggs into her mouth and blinked. You eat eggs of undeveloped offspring? She grinned. Don't knock it until you try it. I thought humans were biologically inefficient. Now I think you are simply insane. Same thing, really. And just like that, the tension cracked. A laugh, guttural and insectoid, came from Cautel's mandibles. Reyes blinked in surprise. You can laugh? We did not expect to hear. Later, aboard the shuttle back to the Vigilant Sun, Chancellor Yilzen stood silent as the massive hull of the Leviathan receded in the viewport. She said they only have one of those ships, one diplomat murmured. Yilzen said nothing. Do you believe her? Threx shook his head. Does it matter? No one replied. Back on the bridge, Voss stood alone before the central display. Reactions? She asked. Reyes chimed in over the intercom. They're rattled. But curious. That's the sweet spot. Okoye added, bet you 5 credits they try to infiltrate us within a week. They'll try, Voss replied. And they'll fail. Her eyes narrowed as she stared at the growing fleet signatures in nearby sectors. The Zalari were moving pieces. So was she. Closing emotional/thematic beat. Humanity had always been underestimated. Because they laughed too loud, fought too messy, cared too much. But that was their edge. While the Empire measured strength in firepower, Earth had mastered strategy, deception, and the one thing no alien species could ever replicate, chaos by choice. And the Leviathan? It was merely their calling card. Word count, 1, 215. Would you like me to continue with Chapter 3 next? Chapter 3, The Empire Makes Its Move. Zalari Forward Command. Sector Verge. The Zalari Empire didn't wait long to respond. Within 72 standard hours of the Leviathan's reveal, a full Imperial strike armada dropped out of warp at the edge of Arnaxis space. 30 ships strong. No preamble. No diplomacy. Just raw force, lined in perfect formation like the blades of a guillotine. At the center of the armada floated the Zeroan's Fist, a dreadnought-class war engine the size of a moon fragment, commanded by the infamous high strategist Kael'Zor. Known as the Butcher of Denari, Kael'Zor was a legend, even among the Empire's hardened elite. He gazed at the star map with practiced indifference. A single Terran vessel. Unregistered. Unauthorized. Bold, he said with a rasp. His adjutant, Commander Nethral, nodded. We believe it is called Leviathan. Heavily shielded. Capable of non-conventional warfare. Kael'Zor scoffed. There is no such thing as invincible. Send a message. Demand surrender. And if they refuse? He smiled with needle-like teeth. Then we demonstrate humility, with plasma. Bridge of the Leviathan. Earth's hidden supercarrier. Captain Ilara Voss stared at the projection of the approaching Zalari fleet. The Zeroan's Fist loomed at the center like a monstrous heart. Looks like the Empire brought the family reunion early, Chief Engineer Okoye muttered, hands on hips. They're not here to talk, Reyes said, her face tight. That thing could level a continent from orbit. And they have 30 more to back it up, said Commander Sorensen, tactical officer. Voss folded her arms. Good. Let them come. Ma'am. Reyes blinked. We need them to underestimate us one more time. A grin spread on Okoye's face. You're planning something, aren't you? I'm always planning something. Conflict escalation. The Zalari broadcast came through, and the entire Leviathan bridge went silent as the massive image of Kael'Zor appeared. His armor gleamed obsidian black, each panel inscribed with the names of fallen enemies. His voice was cold. Human vessel. You are trespassing in Imperial-controlled space. Surrender immediately. Failure to comply will result in your total annihilation. Voss leaned toward the screen, face unreadable. You'll forgive me if I don't take military advice from someone who names his ship after his fist. Kael'Zor blinked. What? We're not surrendering. We're giving you a demonstration. She ended the transmission. The bait. Deploy Ghost Protocol, Voss ordered. In response, the Leviathan seemed to shimmer and vanish. Not just from view. From sensors, from comms, even from gravitational feedback. The Leviathan didn't just hide. It removed itself from the universe. Zalari sensors scrambled, hunting for a trace. Ships scattered. Scans went wide. Kael'Zor hissed. Find them. They've disappeared, Nethral whispered. No quantum wake. No warp trail. It's like they folded into non-space. No. They're here. They're watching. The Dreadnought's command crew stiffened. Kael'Zor stared into the void, unsure whether he was more angry or impressed. Meanwhile, inside the Leviathan, in the darkened operations chamber, Lieutenant Reyes oversaw the drone network. Phase 2 ready. Targets mapped. They're spreading their formation just like we hoped. Any reaction to the disappearance? Voss asked. They're throwing recon ships in every direction, trying to bait us. They're about to learn Earth doesn't bite the hook, Voss said. We rewire the fishing pole. The ship's AI, Isaac, spoke up then, calm and sardonic as always. Tactical packages loaded. Suggest initiating shame them into stupidity protocol. Do it, Voss replied. Moments later, every Zalari vessel received the same file. A 3D model of the Zeroan's Fist, annotated with its blind spots and vulnerabilities. Written in perfect Imperial code. The Empire panics. Kael'Zor read the file 3 times. How the hell do they know our internal schematics? No one had an answer. Some blamed spies. Others muttered about AI infiltration. Kael'Zor's rage boiled. They're mocking us. Nethral stepped forward cautiously. Should we retreat and re-strategize? Kael'Zor's fist slammed into his chest, flattening the adjutant. Bones crunched. No. We crush them. Forward all ships. Fire blind if we must. Earth strikes back, stealth assault. As the Zalari moved into position, the Leviathan reappeared, above them. Not in front. Not within range. Above. The Zalari dreadnought rose into view, only to find the Leviathan already descending, deploying its javelin drop pods. Thousands of needle-like kinetic weapons screamed downward, piercing shields and hulls. Not to destroy. To disable. One Zalari cruiser lost all engine control in 6 seconds. Another spun wildly from gravitic disruption. A third detonated, not from impact, but from panic-triggered reactor mismanagement. Inside the Zalari fleet, Commander Threx's POV. Threx watched in shock as ship after ship lost control without a single traditional plasma volley. They're using precision-based, non-lethal warheads, he murmured. Crippling, not killing. And doing it while invisible, one officer whispered. Threx's eyes narrowed. This isn't a show of force. He looked at the simulation records from their last visit. Then at the fleet carnage outside. It's a lesson. Voss's final gambit. The Leviathan appeared again, this time nose to nose with the Zeroan's fist. Its main cannon charged, but didn't fire. Instead, a message blared across every Zalari channel. This is Captain Elara Voss. We will not destroy you. Not unless you force our hand. But understand this. Earth is not a footnote. Not a colony. Not prey. We are the storm you never planned for. And we are watching. Withdraw. Or we show you what a real war looks like. Kael'Zor's choice. Kael'Zor stood frozen. One by one, his ships fell back, commanders overriding orders in the face of futility. He wanted to charge. Wanted to scream. But something in Voss's voice, calm, resolute, cut deeper than any weapon. He clenched his fists. Signal full retreat. Aftermath, back on the Leviathan. In the debriefing room, the mood was half celebratory, half shocked. They backed off, Okoye said, shaking his head. I can't believe it. You should, Voss said. They blinked. And now they'll think twice before pushing again. Reyes asked the question everyone was thinking, what now? Voss looked at the star map. Now we prepare for the next wave. Because the Empire doesn't give up. But neither do we. Thematic beat. Humanity had no empire, no vassals, no ancient fleet stretching across the stars. All it had was its will to survive. But sometimes, that's all it takes. In a galaxy of predators, Earth had just announced itself. Not with blood, but with brilliance. Word count, 1203. Would you like Chapter 4 next, the climactic conclusion? Chapter 4, Leviathan Unleashed. Zalari Imperial Throne World, High Inquisition Chamber. The room pulsed with restrained fury. Massive, obsidian walls curved overhead like the inside of a beast's ribcage. Dozens of Zalari nobility and military elites circled the central dais, where High Inquisitor Varnak stood, his robes of authority laced with the molted carapace of extinct enemies. They humiliated us, Varnak hissed. One human vessel crippled an entire battle group. And what did Kael'Zor do? He retreated. Admiral Rax-Na clicked his mandibles. Perhaps Kael'Zor was correct too. He showed weakness. The room froze. Varnak loomed over them. We underestimated them once. That ends now. Mobilize the Second Fleet. Prepare the Shatterlance. This time, we burn their world. Earth, Terran High Command, Deep Core Bunker. Admiral Jane Brooks stared down at the classified images projected on the war table. A massive superweapon, kilometers long, being assembled in orbit above the Zalari throne world. A planet killer, she muttered. Commander Sorensen, now transferred planetside from the Leviathan, nodded grimly. Our intelligence calls it the Shatterlance. It's not just meant for show. It's for Earth. President Okoro leaned forward. How long do we have? Days. A week, tops. The room was silent. Then Brooks turned to the holoscreen displaying Captain Elara Voss. You still have her? Voss gave a quiet, steel-eyed nod. She's ready. Aboard the Leviathan. Humanity's hidden blade. Isaac, the ship's AI, spoke calmly in Voss's ear. Final war simulations show a 28% chance of full survival if we engage directly. So that leaves 72% where we get wrecked, Reyes muttered. Okoye grinned. Better odds than we had in my first marriage. Voss stood at the head of the bridge, staring at the stars. We won't be engaging directly. Not at first. The Leviathan was never designed to fight fair. Then what's the plan? Reyes asked. Voss turned. We hit them where it hurts. From the inside. The plan. Phase 1. Sabotage. Using forged Zalari clearance codes, intercepted during the last encounter, the Leviathan inserted a stealth capsule near the Shatterlance's core. On board, Lieutenant Reyes, Cautel, the defected Zalari translator from Chapter 2, and 2 cybernetic infiltration drones named Rip and Tear. Phase 2. Diversion. While Reyes and Cautel snuck through ventilation conduits and slipped past insectoid guards, the Leviathan launched a phantom assault on a Zalari fuel convoy across the system. Drones mimicked weapon signatures from a non-existent Terran fleet. The Zalari mobilized en masse. Phase 3. Reveal and rally. Once the sabotage was in place, the Leviathan would decloak over the Zalari capital and broadcast a galaxy-wide message. Not just to intimidate, but to inspire. Inside the beast. Reyes crawled through the dim shaft, whispering into her earpiece. Cautel, you sure these tunnels go to the primary relay? The insectoid hissed softly. Yes. My cast used to clean these conduits. I remember the scent of the plasma coils. Rip beeped. Tear hissed. Quiet, Reyes muttered. I think we're near the core. Through a grate, they could see it, a glowing lattice of quantum batteries feeding the Shatterlance's main firing chamber. One overload, and the whole thing would shut down, for weeks, maybe months. Reyes planted the explosives. Cautel hesitated. You could have escaped. Why help another species? Reyes shrugged. Because we remember what it's like to be the little guy. The grand broadcast. The galaxy's networks were hijacked. From merchant ships in the Thaskian Trade Union to pirate stations in the Verge, the same image appeared. The Leviathan, fully visible, floating above the Zalari capital. Behind it, Earth's flag, bright and defiant. Captain Voss appeared on screen. To every species that's been stepped on, pushed back, or silenced, we see you. To the Empire, this is your reckoning. We are not here to conquer. We are here to end the conquest. On the bridge, Okoye activated the sabotage trigger. The Shatterlance shuddered. And went dark. Zalari panic. High Inquisitor Varnak stormed into the command chamber as lights flickered. What happened? An officer screamed. Their team disabled the lance from inside. It'll take weeks to repair. Across the capital, anti-Empire protests broke out, fueled by the broadcast. Old enemies of the Empire, Dravari, Melkanth, Usari, started to cheer. And worst of all? Some Zalari soldiers laid down their weapons. Varnak hissed. This isn't a war. No, Commander Threx said behind him, newly returned. It's a revolution. Varnak turned in rage, only to be stunned by a neural bolt to the chest. Long live the storm, Threx whispered. Final showdown, Voss versus Varnak. Voss transported down with a small team as Zalari defenses crumbled. Her boots crunched against shattered stone. Varnak waited in the ruins of the command hall, armor glowing with power. You meddling ape, he snarled. You think chaos is victory? No, Voss replied, but it's a hell of a first step. He charged. They fought, blades and fists, plasma and kinetic strikes. Varnak was stronger. Voss was smarter. She lured him beneath a damaged power coil. One command, and Isaac dropped it, crushing the Inquisitor under 10 tons of burning metal. Checkmate, she muttered. The aftermath. The Leviathan hovered over the now silent palace. Zalari ships fled. Others surrendered. Across the galaxy, the message was clear. Earth had changed the game. A week later, a dozen formerly oppressed races joined Earth in signing the Free Systems Accord, a mutual defense pact against tyranny. The Leviathan, once Earth's secret weapon, now symbolized a new order. Voss watched from orbit as peace talks began. Reyes joined her on the bridge. We did it. For now, Voss said. We showed them what humanity is. Okoye chimed in from engineering. Stubborn, chaotic, and terrifying? No, Voss said. Free. Final thematic beat. Humanity had arrived not with domination, but with defiance. Not to replace one empire with another, but to break the cycle. They were underestimated. They were unexpected. And now, they were unstoppable. Word count, 1208. Would you like a full compiled version or ebook formatting next?